Well,
Changed the whole thing.
really,
Well, no more washing.
tunnel, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's worked out.
should have done that a long time ago.
And I never thought, I didn't realize it was quite. I don't know,
Well, they,
it's more stable now.
yeah. Well, being that close to the water, they frown on putting coal patch and stuff and,
Really?
yeah,
Even then.
yeah.
Okay.
To top down the other end, we went through a lot of hoops to get them, get permits to do that.
Alright, I think I got everything figured out, thank you for being patient. That we call meeting to order?
Oh, boy.
Alright. So we'll start with approval of meeting minutes. We haven't done since May. For the May meeting minutes, those present were Sue, Dick, Terry, and Callie. Sue called the meeting to order at 5:05 p.m. Do I need to read all this?
Sure.
Okay, we just look at them and then
Mhm.
approve them. All right. All those,
Yeah, as per motion.
yep, all those in favor of a motion to approve the May 14th minutes. Dick and Frank. Who am I saying that?
Second.
Seth.
Second,
Okay.
I second.
All right. Well, the minutes are approved. June 11th minutes, all those in favor, approval of minutes? Second, Frank, all right.
Abstain, I wasn't there.
Approved. And the July 9th minutes, all those in favor of approving July 9th. Is that right? Right?
Call the question. In the minutes. During the chief's presentation, he brought up the waterfront parking issue. And we had a discussion about it and people were throwing around some fees, but there was no vote taken and no formal recommendation going forward. At least that wasn't my understanding. And if it had been, we should have either brought it to a vote or tabled it for further research. I mean, I took it upon myself to start looking into it further as far as both fees and what have you. I had no idea it was really going forward to the select board, and I came in on the select board meeting online, but for some reason, thing wasn't letting me raise my hand to communicate.
Has it been to the select board yet?
Was it the last meeting?
This last select board meeting. It was brought.
I don't think it-
It was brought up at the last select board meeting.
Oh, because I thought Dennis,
Dennis said he
Put
was
it on the
working,
agenda.
he discussed it and said he was working on language for bylaws.
Yeah.
So I just felt we were kind of almost ahead of ourselves because we hadn't really, I felt, completely even addressed it in committee here fully. I mean, researched it. I think the $20 fee is very low for that. And I also, should we put this into old business versus the minutes? I mean, what I was getting to on the minutes was no formal vote was taken. There was a discussion made and people floated around the idea of 20 and there was some nodding, yes or no. I think somebody brought up a $75 camping fee at other places too. But I didn't realize we had any consensus on this. So, I'd like the meeting minutes modified to say discussion was had about fees versus a vote was taken and recommendation made. I mean, that was my understanding. If somebody, if I misunderstood, I'd like to hear from someone else. I reviewed the tape.
Yeah, often we will discuss things, take them up, and if it's a waterfront issue. We go ahead and deal with it. We don't wait for the committee to talk about it and then make a recommendation. unless for some reason it's really necessary. So I have not remembered that conversation. I know that we did something, but I wouldn't worry about putting things in old business or new business or something like that. If we don't get it done, then it just automatically is sitting there. You can retreat
Well,
for the next meeting.
okay, well, then we'll put it in old business. So I'm just saying that, you know, on the minutes. Since it's addressed in minutes. We agreed to a 29 overnight parking fee. I don't believe that was the case. It was discussed, the $20 fee was proposed and discussed. There was no vote taken. No recommendation made to go forward.
I see it and I remember that. Okay.
So
There
I
was-
propose,
Sometimes then you can just have a consensus, you know, not everything requires.
well, on something like this, I think it does. It
Okay.
involves money, it involves the town, and it involves policy.
Okay,
So I'd like the minutes corrected to reflect that a discussion was made and a $20 fee was floated.
Alright, so all those in favor of amending the minutes? James,
For the fee.
So concerning that it was discussed but not voted on, yeah.
in favor, any opposed? That should cover all of our meetings. Minutes, date now,
Will propose that we adopt the minutes as amended.
okay, so. Who in favor of adopting the minutes as amended?
Second.
Right. So,
please read to me how you amended it.
The committee discussed fees for overnight at the parking lot. $20 was suggested. And,
No votes taken.
yeah, no vote was taken.
Can I ask what happened at the select board meeting the other night?
When it's already done.
Dennis mentioned that,
So there's a $20 fee right now?
no,
I don't think we, yeah, I don't know.
Dennis said he was drafting.
I do not know.
I saw what he drafted. He gave me a copy of what he was drafting.
He had 4 or 5 different areas that he was drafting, that, you know, there were. Corrections to be made in all of those areas. I have that. I can pass it on to you if you would like. I haven't read it completely. We got it last night.
Well, I'm not charging people. I just want to make sure that I still was not charging people. So.
We gotta fix some signage too before we have charging anyone.
alright, so we'll move on to old business. Anybody have anything to old business?
I'd like to revisit parking for these fees. I'm been going online and looking at a lot of these websites where people are advertising free camping. And I'm very nervous. And you know, about us having it free, and I'm totally with the chief that there should be fees if we even deem that is an area where we want to have overnight camping. I've been going back and forth there a couple of times a week. Early in the morning, later in the evening to see what's going on. And I noticed that there's one car that seems to be permanently there with New Hampshire plates. has a broken out window that's covered with plastic?
That's what it's all.
Okay,
Oh, he bought a sailboat. And he's heading to the Caribbean in a
okay,
month or two, so I guess it's my fault in the sense that he bought a boat for me and has not left here yet.
okay, so that's another issue, it's not nothing to do with camping.
We have two vehicles that are there pretty much all the time,
Right,
and that's that vehicle and George's truck. And George has the boat over in
yeah.
Edgemont.
So it's the big RVs that concern me the most, and I've been reading up about a lot of what communities have been doing in this state and elsewhere, and even overseas, because it's become a major issue. And when you've got a waterfront view, once the word gets out to these sites, people are gonna be piled there, and
I know.
unless,
Especially for $20 a night.
Well, I know Dennis's plan was to limit it to five spots a night.
well, I'm concerned about even 5 spots a night, because that is the commercial pier area, and when I was there early, I mean, what time are we planning to rouse them or tell them we have to leave in the morning?
I think Dennis on his thing said 6 AM.
So depending on title
Yeah.
schedule, I mean, the whole situation with commercial fishing and use for people for rec sailing and launching and fishing and everything is depending on the tides. And so the set time is a little difficult even. But it seems to me the priority should be for parking, should be for people who are using pier facilities. And I'm very concerned about giving up those spaces. Somebody wants to park a trailer and boat, and there's not enough elsewhere, or a smaller trailer and boat. I'm also concerned about the wear and tear on the bathroom facilities, because if they're open at night, they are gonna get destroyed.
They've
And,
been open at night for 2 years now.
but I mean, when you've got that going on, because they'll be doing sink baths and the like. The other thing, I don't know if we have sewers in that lot. But a big issue that's been happening is RVs emptying their toilet lines into the public sewers. So my personal feeling is right now is I'm based on the research I've done, I don't think that if we do it anywhere in this town, that is the least of the areas I would recommend public parking that we use. The lower lot on Railroad, with some designated long spaces maybe for, that are normally used during the day for buses or things, might be the optional things, but I think we're setting ourselves up for some serious problems. And I'm not sure even a $45 fee might cover some of the issues we're up with. Anyone else have any thoughts on this?
You say send them down to the ferry line, big back one.
Well, I know, I got a call last week from a female. And I asked her where she was getting her information, how did she know to come to Wiscasset? And she gave me the site iOverland.
Mm-hmm. There's a
And,
number of others.
And I went on that iOverland, it's got my name and phone number on it. And, and it's information that these people put on there. So that's why we're getting bombarded with calls. I've already got a call today for somebody to stay down there. And, but this summer it's been an issue with people calling, because we put the signs up, no overnight parking without permission.
Mhm.
So now I'm getting bombarded with phone calls. I don't think I've ever had more than 3 or 4 people there at a time. I've never had anybody complain about parking, not having enough space for parking. I do know that, you know, the parking is limited to the boat trailers, there's only 5 or 6 spots down there for boat trailers to park. I mean, Luke's down there all the time, and he would know if anybody, if there's parking issues.
Well, have RVs been parking in the boat trailer spots?
Once, I had 2 RVs parked side by side in the boat. I didn't allow them, I told them not to. I told them to park, whenever anybody calls, I tell them to park towards the bridge on the other side of the building. And I went down the next morning and I had 2 RVs parked in the boat trail parking.
Mhm.
Thankfully, no fishermen complained, it must have been off tide or something, no one, there was no boats there.
It seems like if we clear, don't park in the boat trailer spot, but you get in trouble there.
And I kind of have mixed feelings on it, I feel like people traveling through, you know, one of them. I mean, many of them reach out to me, you know, tell me how much they love our town, I think I even showed Dennis one of the texts. You know, they're in line and getting a lobster roll, whether it was yours or Red's, but so it is bringing business in town, and it gives them a safe place to stay, because we have the cameras. So I got mixed feelings on it. But I do think that if we charge them, it's an opportunity to make some money. What that fee should be, I mean, that's not up to me, but.
I think that if we charge them and then maybe make it a requirement, have to sign down there that they call you. We could control how many RVs are coming down there, where they park, if it's just a simple phone call to you, submitting a fee. But I do agree that it'd be nice to have a place for them to park. We're gonna make, I don't know, $45 off of it, and it doesn't cause any problems, I understand it, sounds like there's other places it's caused problems, but.
A lot of places it's caused problems, that's why a lot of communities have banned it.
So what are the problems you've been seeing from these other communities?
I've been hearing problems about, they take all the spaces, so no one who wants to go there for other purposes
And that could happen down the road, the more and more people come.
have that parking. That they turn the public bathrooms into a real mess. And like I said, they're dumping their toilets and the public sewers. Now we have cameras down there.
We haven't experienced any of that, they can go right down to Railroad Ave and dump their sewer.
Right.
There's no place for them to dump it down there, either, right?
No.
I mean, with the cameras, and I mean, that area, you have officers going through that area somewhat regularly, don't you?
I mean, I don't tell them what to patrol, but
But
I see on the
them
camera,
there
they're all through all the
you know?
time.
So it seems like we could limit the overcrowding pretty easily if we had I don't know, 3 RV. I'm not sure how many fit down.
So I can help kind of facilitate this. On the board meeting Tuesday night, will be a new policy for parking down the waterfront. We limited to 5 spots. There's a lot of limitations on it. There can't be, the camper can't be so big that it takes up the whole place, no slide outs. I got pictures of an outdoor toilet tent that was set up down at the waterfront.
Was that a toilet tent or was it a change in?
Toilet tent.
Which is just not okay.
Why would they set that up as a back?
Actually, I'll make you guys a copy of the policy.
Yeah.
I get done speaking here, but, yeah, it has a lot of limitations, but it's not limited to just the waterfront. It is basically a ban on occupied vehicles parking in town property overnight.
Mhm.
Because not only RVs, but we have people that are living in their cars. They park down there, and so, you know, the board asked me to come up with something. I'm gonna tell you that I already opposed, I drafted the policy, but allowing an exception to park at the waterfront, I'm opposed to. It's just gonna be more work for Public Works to have to pick up more trash, more work for our town employees to have to clean the bathrooms, more expense for all the water that we use. And there's a campground right here in town. And we should not be competing with them for camper spots. If they need a place to lay their head at night, there's a rest area just up the road in Newcastle where they can go in. So I'll make you guys a copy of the policy. If you wanna come to the meeting on Tuesday and voice your opinions, please do. But initially I was for this, but the more I thought about it, the less I like it.
So Dennis, to recap, that's why I brought it up. I thought about it more and more, did more research since the meeting last week. Started off with fees, but then I started going on the websites. And I saw what was happening in a lot of communities and why they've all banned this parking because of things that have happened. And so I feel like you, I was originally kind of for it, now I'm completely opposed to it. especially actually in that area, because I feel it's gonna impact commercial and recreational boating and fishing. And that's the primary use for that parking area.
But I'll go make copies so that you guys can have it to read
Well, it
before.
does make sense, they go right to.
If you see, and if you guys get the board agenda, you know, you get my manager's report, and I put a small report in there that says, you know, you asked me to do this and I've done it, but I'm not in favor of it. What they do is, you know, entirely up to them. Let me go make some copies of that.
I know it would make my life easier if there was no parking over there.
Yeah, Dennis makes a lot of sense, I mean, his points.
Well, you know,
They're down the road.
and there is a rest area down the road.
Now, the interesting thing is, for the first time this year, Rockland is allowing overnight parking at one location. And it's 45 a night for like a car. Higher for like RVs, something, but absolutely no camping or overnight sleeping, it's specified. But if somebody needs to leave a vehicle, they can arrange to do that and pay a fee. And they designated one area only in the town for that. So if we were to do that, I would think the Railroad Avenue lot would make the most sense for overnight parking without sleeping.
That will be bought in anyone's view.
Or access to the water or for trailers or what have you.
But we're letting people park there. And then going into a different town to spend the night on their boat. So,
Well, they
Don't
limit it to
make
one
sense.
night too, they don't give
Yeah.
people like seasonal. Because that whole issue of people using other moorings and parking their car here.
yeah. And use our floats to house their boat to get to the big boat.
Mhm.
Do we have? So can we, sorry, so. I have no idea how to run bids yet.
Doing
Should we close that motion?
Oh, there's no motion.
I don't
it's
think
just
there's no
discussion.
motion, nothing.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll move on to any other, whole business?
I looked into the dinghy fees that we discussed, so if you're a resident. Rockland is charging, thank you, $50. If you're a non-resident, it's $175. I think that's a pretty fair one for us to adopt as well.
So would that be just? Cause right now, the ordinance says that if you have a mooring, the wreck float, the dinghy type on the back of the wreck float, there's the mooring owners.
mhm.
So if you have a mooring and you pay to race that mooring every year, you don't have to pay to have your dinghy on the wreck float, correct?
No, they have to pay it, they have, if they wanna tie it up to the.
So that's-
record, they have
So
pay
you'd have to
additional
change the
fee.
ordinance for that to happen.
Mhm. I think it's worthwhile considering.
Yeah. I mean, there's other, you can bring kayak down, I use yacht club, it's,
I guess I have 2 cents on this just as a commercial guy, and I don't really apply to me, but. I know to use the floats as a fisherman. There's $200 fee for the derrick. There's like $100 fee, or I forget what the fee is for basically a season's worth of boat ramp use. And then $250 a year mooring fee. So. I guess I feel like I'm sort of.
Well, I would think if you're paying,
Top of that.
if you're paying that commercial fee,
Yeah.
your dinghy tie up at the commercial float is covered.
we're talking,
It's all red.
yeah, cause you use a commercial here for your thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would just apply to the recreational.
Yeah. No, this is just red. That's
Cause I think in addition to dinghies, there's a fair amount of people who use the dinghy side of the recreational pier without paying any.
Mhm.
Well, it's gonna stop someone from another town. Using, putting their dinghy there and they have a boat in another town,
They have to pay a non-resident fee.
but it happens every day.
Well, because there's no rule against it yet.
Yeah,
In addition, so that's a seasonal fee,
Mhm.
and then there's some places that will charge a day fee. Or like if we're gonna propose something in the ordinance, should we make it over a certain period, over 48 hours, you need a permit or?
Boothbay Harbor, you can tie up to their rec float, for 2 hours. Anything longer than that, I think you gotta.
same with Rockland.
Right, that's for tying up like your boat, but let's say you anchor in the harbor, or you pick up one of the town moorings in the harbor. Can you use the dinghy dock to come in for dinner? You know, cause you're obviously not gonna buy a $175
Yeah, I would say.
year-long permit for that.
I would say if somebody's paying to be on the town board, and then, or then the digging fee would be included.
Yeah.
So-
Included, right.
Right, so if we're gonna, I mean, if this is something we have to put in the ordinance, we probably wanna have it figured out clear so that. Do we do a certain amount of. Couple days or a week or anything over 24 hours, how do we wanna handle?
Well, if somebody rents a town mooring, they're paying $1 a foot
Yeah,
per night that they're there. So if they're there 5 nights, they're paying that fee every day for 5 days. So I think their dinghy would be covered for as long as they wanna be on the mooring.
okay, so we'll have include language to,
I have a suggestion though, and I don't recall what the ordinance says off the top of my head. If there's any reference in the ordinance in the fees, we should have, the ordinance change should remove them. So that the select board can set the fees, otherwise we have to go to a town meeting every single time we wanna change the fees. So if I've been trying to eliminate them as I go, and if I've missed it in the harbor and waterfront. We should do that at the next available town meeting.
so we just wanna say in the ordinance for a fee,
Yes,
and
it's
not specify the fee basically.
not classify the fee, just say it's set by this tacit fee schedule, and then we can change it whenever we want to. Otherwise, town meeting is paying the button to make this stuff.
And I don't know that any of the ordinances have a fee. I mean, I think, I don't remember how we changed the fees for the water.
Well, a lot of them-
Did it.
A lot of them we've already taken out,
Yeah.
so there was like the special amusement license had a $10 fee in the ordinance, hadn't changed since 1986. So we just stripped that language out and just said it would be set by the Wiscasset fee schedule. Then every year we can look at it and say we want to update values, whatever.
So the simplest way for us to do it is we take the fee structure that I think the board approved last year for the waterfront, we just add the dinghy float fee to that, whatever that fee is recommended to be, and bring it in front of the select board for the vote and approval.
That's it.
So do we want to do for seasonal $50 as proposed for residents and $175 for non-residents?
That's fair to me.
Do residents have to vote on that?
It depends on how, I've got to go back through the ordinance to see how the ordinance is, the language is.
I remember I got a lot
But
of flack.
we have an ordinance that specifically says that the Wiscasset Select Board set the fees for use of town facilities. So as long as that's not something that contradicts that in the harbor ordinance, we should be okay.
That motion or anything that we need to put forward for that?
I'll make a motion that the residential fee for dinghy moorings floats is 50 per season or per annum, whatever you prefer. 175 for non-residents.
All those in favor?
No second.
Wait a second.
I'm in favor.
Favor?
I mean, I belong to the yacht club, and I gotta pay $50 if I want a dinghy on the yacht club float.
That's what I do, I mean, that's where I keep my name, I like it there. Yeah. Alright. Do we have any other old business?
Is this something you guys want to enact soon or starting the next voting season?
I think at this point, next voting.
I would say next year.
Any other old business? We move on to new business. We have apparently two tier applications I'll pass around here. One is for ATM. Option Z ATM. And apparently they paid their application fee. It's like April 10th. And we've been sitting on an application for a while, which we need to approve and then submit to the select board to approve.
This is a
So,
renewal of
right,
that.
this is a renewal, yeah,
Yeah.
so these are both already there and up and running, and then the other one. Is from March, and this is for. Forgotten Recipes. Ronald Lehman. So this was already. Never approved, apparently,
Really?
but he's been carrying on as if it was, and he owes.
I thought it was approved.
I thought we did it too. Who gave that? I don't remember that coming up, really.
Really?
I do recall it, but I can't remember what the discussion was. It was discussed at one of the select board meetings. Was brought up, and there was something about he wanted a special fee structure or something or other. A reduced rate or there was something that complicated it, maybe why it didn't get.
I know the Potter thought he should get a reduced thing, but Ron, the jam place, I thought that was all approved, but. It did.
I don't. Have to search back through the minutes. I don't think it was.
No.
Would anyone like to take a look at these? No, I'm good. Alright,
Fees paid.
so I'll make a motion to approve the permit for Sean Brown with option Z ATM. All those in favor? Frank, any opposed? Then I'll make a motion to approve the peer vendor permit application for Ronald Lehman. Forgotten Recipes.
Fees have been paid.
So, sorry. He still needs to pay. $130. He's paid 1,000 of the $130. I don't know. We have to move on the. But he still owes $130. I'm not sure why.
I think that's why it didn't get approved at that select board meeting. There was something.
Maybe 1,000.
I don't know, maybe that's why, maybe that's all he had on him for money when he came in to pay it, I'm not sure. I'd have to go back. I'd have to go back through the selectmen's minutes to. Refresh my memory on why that would be the case, but.
So
I'm not
I
concerned,
would
I'm
vote,
not concerned about.
yeah, I would vote to approve it pending payment of all fees. It's approved.
All those in favor? Opposed? So I'll add a note here. All right, do we have any other new business?
Yes. Due to an illness, I have to resign from this committee. That's true.
Oh, no.
Sorry to hear that.
So am I,
Sir?
said so am I. Sorry to hear that.
Oh,
We'll need to. Get another member of the committee, I have no idea how that's.
So if you could send me just a resignation by email. So I could get it to the select board, and they can send it. Advertise. Get somebody.
Do you have any other new business? I have, one item. I wanted to bring up that James brought up, do you go by James or Jim?
Jim,
That Jim brought up. Last meeting when he was appointed secretary, which is Robert's. Rules of order, I think they all have a copy of. So, Jim, you might be able to comment a little bit more on this, but one thing I've noticed. In the brief time we've been going to these meetings, they do tend to ramble on at times, and I can see as the secretary. You'd be frantically trying to keep up with the notes, so. There's a couple of good points I thought Robert's Rules of Order brought up. There's some basic ones that we're all already following, I think. Quorum must be present, all members have equal rights. Then there's a couple new items I think we could consider. So no person should speak until recognized by the chair. I'd like to hear everyone's thoughts on that. I don't know how I feel about that. I do think there are times when we get, and too open of a discussion, but I don't know if we need to be that strict. Anyone have thoughts on that? Yeah, gee,
I know that's how the select board does it, they raise
they
their
raise
hand,
their hand, yeah.
but I think it would be more organized.
Yeah,
I do too,
So
and
maybe we'll-
thank you, and that's why I had stated that last week. Was because just to take minutes,
I can, yeah,
God bless Callie, her minutes are incredible, but God. I was working on the minutes over the weekend, not knowing that Callie had done them already, went online to check out some old minutes and saw she posted, was like, thank you.
yeah, I was
Yes.
thinking about, it's like even looking at the videos. you do some
I think
stuff.
we can shorten the meetings a
I
lot
agree.
if we adhere to that.
So we'll start by, if you want to speak, raise your hand and I'll select you to speak. There's personal remarks, slide discussions during the day, one question only one question at a time may be considered, and only one person. May have the floor at any one time. I think that might be another one that'd be pretty beneficial. There are times when we bounce from topic to topic. And it will be a learning curve, especially I think for all of us, but I think we should try to. Stick to one topic at a time. Does everyone else kind of agree with that? Members have a right to know what the pending question is. I think that's still free discussions. Maybe right, majority decide question. We're all good on that. And there was one other. So. I don't know if it's on this list. But one other thing I read, I think somewhere else, was that the chairman would have no opinion on matters. And I was curious, wondering what you guys thought, if we should follow that as well, or if I should remain more whatever. Debate discussion. Anyone's thoughts on that?
You have the same rights as anybody else.
Yeah, I'll just remain a member of the committee like everyone else. And
I think you should.
I know, a couple of places I saw that, but. No, I'll try not to. I can see words in it, Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's important that you do
Mhm.
have the ability to express your points. I think the way to do it, and I think this is the way our chair of the select board handles this. All the others go around first, then she sums it up, and then she expresses her opinion. And I think that would be a good way to follow it. You've listened to everyone else first, then you express your thing, you summarize the thing. But we definitely want your active participation in all aspects.
I think that makes sense. My concern would just be because there's no one for me to raise my hand and call on, and I'll do my best not to, I just butt in after anyone says anything and, you know, roll over with my. So I'll try to avoid doing
We'll
this.
put the question.
Alright, so. I don't know if we necessarily need to make a motion for this or anything,
No.
I think it can be somewhat informal, but that's just kind of where I'm kind of looking at. How I'm looking at running these meetings that make things a little bit more efficient and easier for our secretary, Jim, and. Smoother going. Any other new business?
I didn't see. I have a copy of the agenda, I didn't see the agenda. Thanks.
Then, if we have no other new business, I think we'll do the harbor master report.
Well, I've been pretty busy down in the waterfront, with the mooring rental, mooring request, still getting mooring requests. I got a request today from a lady, a non-resident, who wants to either get a mooring or rent a town mooring for the season next year to live on her sailboat. So, I mean, we're getting a few requests for that. I got a call from a lady from Westport Island that has rental property, and she was asking about doing a houseboat in Wiscasset Mooring Field and kind of renting that out. I told her no. I don't know if she really wanted to. I don't know how long I could tell her no. But, we are working on, Callie's working on an ordinance for houseboats. The two moorings that we had, unauthorized moorings, I'm pretty sure I mentioned that last meeting, did I? It's been, yeah, we had two moorings pop up that were unauthorized. They are now gone. One of them got pulled, the other one moved to Edgecombe. So we have two mooring holders in Edgecombe now that are tying the dinghy up to the Wiscasset float. I know. I guess that's pretty much it for down there. We're still working on getting quotes and stuff for the, Earl's doing a lot of work on the entry floats, and he may have found a cheaper way to, we may be getting some pretty cheap.
We haven't heard back from them yet.
Yeah.
He put a call in and they haven't returned a call.
So I invited Ted to the meeting tonight because there always seems to be, David usually has a lot of questions on the electrical. I was hoping Ted could answer, but the main reason I invited Ted was Callie and I were talking about the condition of the floats, especially the wreck float and the ramp, and how bad it looks. So we're recommending that we do not put any over the winter boats on the wreck float, and that they get cold so they can be maintained, and Ted agrees with that.
Find out what's. They haven't been out in 6 years that I know of.
Well,
So I think they're made, I mean, if you walk down the ramp and then turn around and look up, it looks terrible.
yeah, I was down there the other day.
Right downside.
And then Luke, he's one of the working waterfront guys down there. He's got a oyster farm. He's a non-resident, lives in Woolwich.
No, I live in Wiscasset, but
Oh,
technically,
So
the site is technically in Woolwich.
So, sorry to hear that you're resigning, Dick, but Luke reached out to me and wants to be more involved. Want to know if there's any spaces on the waterfront committee. So you can put your application in with Dennis with that.
You can fill it out online.
Oh, yeah, I've, been living here and I've worked down at the waterfront a bunch and, just sort of. Want to be more involved in town and, thought it's the most relevant spot for me, so I had no idea what the process was to. I've been to one other waterfront committee when I had a meeting. But, so, yeah, I would be happy to. Start slow, but I'd be happy to fill a spot if that's how it works. I don't know if there's what the requirements are either. Being a resident, I assume, but that's.
And that's pretty much all I have. I do think that if we do something with the parking, or do away with the parking, it would probably make my life a little easier. I know my home life is getting frustrated because my phone rings nonstop till like 10 o'clock at night. People want to. I got, so I don't even answer it. I wait till they leave a voicemail, then I'll text them. So, but I do, I never thought of that. There's a rest area right over there. I think that'd be perfect. And we did have an issue down there this past weekend with, we ended up making an arrest down there all over a confrontation between two people over an unleashed dog. So,
Back to my boat.
yeah,
Actually, that's covered in the policy.
Oh, excellent.
For several years, I've been unofficial liaison between you, the town, and Virginia, which is my third ship. And I talked with the executive director down there and told her that I was no longer going to be doing that. I gave her information to Callie. I gave Callie's information to Kirsty, who was the main third ship executive director. And I called Rob Stevens, who was the boat builder of that, who is still somewhat involved, that I was no longer going to be doing that. So I'm out of the picture as far as overwintering in Virginia. So I guess Callie would have to deal with the executive director, who I also hear is taking another job on their own.
Oh, really?
But they have a good website, they're easy to contact. And you have a good website, and then you're easy to contact, so there shouldn't be any difficulties.
did anybody have any questions for Ted on the electrical? That usually seems to be a big topic.
What's the update? Is it all?
I have no idea what's wrong with the electrical.
That was David's concern.
Do what I mean.
But I know he brings it up a lot, that's why.
Something
Frank, do you
not,
know what's going on with the electrical?
something not working.
On the other dog?
On Kramer.
No, on yours, on the.
On yours.
Well, it doesn't work. I mean, parts of it don't work. This guy at the very end, which I don't know what's going on there. He's paid for, this is the third year or second year, I've never even seen him. I don't know what's going on, And if you go around the dog, I don't think you'll find many of those receptacles working.
David has said in the past that he's gone around the dock, plugged something in, and he said none of the receptacles work.
Well, I think there's one that might. And ours work only because we had it upgraded. But the other ones, I don't think they're working. I don't think, but I haven't gone around and,
Yeah, it's GFIs are popping in.
well,
They're not made to run an air conditioner.
that's a non-stop issue with us, we have to deal with it.
But if something isn't working and nobody reports it to the guy in charge.
Yeah. Well, it's not an issue because they're not using much power there now.
No,
Yeah.
But I mean, we don't have trouble with it, but. And the Potter doesn't even use power. That other building uses, I think. That must be a receptacle there that's working,
yeah,
but in back, but he's not there either, I don't know what, I can't even imagine what's going on there. But I can't tell if he's even ever been there, because I can't. See that building, From where I am.
Well. If they haven't come to us or anything, it can't be too important, then.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
Speaking of old business, that ties into one old business that, Dennis, did you have a report on that person? Weren't you going to meet somehow to talk about whether or not they're gonna stay on the pier? Or was,
That's Kane's place down on the right pier.
oh, yeah,
But no, his mother passed away, so he's been out of town for several weeks.
Really?
that's the
Yeah.
vegetable,
No,
no,
he's talking about the.
that's the one I'm talking about.
Oh.
I didn't realize
That's
he
the
wasn't,
ice cream vendor.
he wasn't there. He was there some last year, right?
I saw him once.
But he's not, they're not doing anything?
I haven't seen him. I've seen him there one time.
Did he pay?
Yeah, he paid, or I'm pretty sure he did.
I can't even imagine what's going on. It doesn't even make sense to me. But
The vendor policy is that you've got to staff with it
you
6
you
days a
gotta, you
week.
gotta run it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
I know.
When when he first bought it, he had a gal who was going to run it for him. And she was also going to school. So that was why the hours were like this. She wasn't there very often. And it sort of went downhill from there. And I think he's been able to satisfy himself as what he's gonna do, you know? But he, I think the person, the woman that he hired was also interested in park ownership. So that's where this sits. Are you still in favor of? Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, may I have this conversation in front of me here? For everybody's application, we have had several different discussions about that ice cream shack. And it should probably be moved off of there. It maybe needs to go someplace else, but we don't own it. We do own here under it.
I mean, this has been going on years.
Mhm.
This isn't just something that's happened in the last year. And I know Shane wanted to do something with it down there this year, but the state would not issue him a liquor license.
Oh,
For
that's
down
right.
there because there were no bathrooms. Even though we argued that there are bathrooms, they apparently don't meet the requirements, so.
So I think we're talking about two separate.
Well, they're two separate things, but
Same
the
issue,
same
two
issue.
vendors who were not occupying or subscribing to what they did when they got their permits.
Do we want to propose, sending them a notice? Or remind a reminder that this is the requirements for having a business and a permit here?
Well, that's my responsibility,
Yeah.
if you realize that administering the policy is my responsibility, so, right, if you guys want, if you feel we need to get tough on this. Okay,
I don't think it's getting tough. I can't imagine what's going on there.
but I don't know why anybody would wanna pay money to be there and then not do anything.
Yeah.
But they both have, they both pay
Yeah, I know.
their fees and
Yeah.
then they don't do anything.
I don't know.
It doesn't really, it's not really a good look for the town, if it doesn't, go this stuff.
No, it would be nice if something was in there and operating, but it isn't, so I don't know, I don't know what. I have no idea, I have enough problem with what I'm doing, so.
Yeah, I'm afraid I don't spend much time down there, so.
I know that there's someone who wants to buy. Would you like for me to talk to them?
Yep.
What I was going to suggest was that when the town manager contacts the two vendors, suggest that, or say that they're in violation of the policy and they have buildings on town property. And they either need to remove them by X date, or they will become town's property.
And we have done that in the past. We did that with the ice cream lady 3 or 4 years ago. And that's when she ended up selling it to.
And
Jane.
then the town has the ability to sell to new vendors who want to come on board.
But the part about it becoming town property is not legal, because I looked into it.
Oh, can't be seized?
At that time, it's not considered abandoned until it's like 3 years or 5 years or something like that.
Well, what convinced them to sell it? Just talking to them?
Yes. Saying, you know, you either remove it or we'll remove it for you.
So we can't sell it, but we can remove.
I believe we can, if it's on town property, but we can't do anything with it, we just have to take it probably up to the. I think we talked about taking it up to the transfer station.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, of course it can be removed, because unless he's paying withering fees to keep it all year long,
It needs to be removed.
it needs to be removed.
Other than, what if we damage it while we're moving it, who's liable for that? You don't know.
It's just much nicer when they sell it and somebody else takes it and uses it, would be the ultimate, you know, the best way to go on it.
Absolutely.
This has already been damaged once, we fixed it from. They hung banners on it, you know, some schooner fest or something,
Yeah.
remember the holes through the side and
Mhm.
I put the. I told her, oh, it's fine, I put the caulk to it. Good.
Scooterfest really enjoys using that little building, but we
Yeah.
can't, you know,
Alright,
can't
so
afford
is
to buy it.
there anything we wanna take a vote on making any recommendations for?
No, okay, what needs to be done.
Alright, any other questions on the harbor master's report? I think, something to consider going forward that you mentioned was several houseboat, or is that one person that wanted to put a houseboat in?
No, it's a problem statewide. Yeah, that's one person this year. There's been talk about it in the past, but, John Knoll from the state, who you work on with the grants. There's issues all over the state from people putting up these makeshift houseboats and then abandon them, and then they drift on shore and become a problem that way. So the Harbor Master Association has been encouraging harbor masters for the past several years to come up with ordinances in their towns to stop that from happening. And, again, Callie's working on it.
Okay,
She's one person doing a lot.
yeah,
But so hopefully in the near future, we will have an ordinance on that, but that's gonna go through the town process. But that is a concern.
do we need to vote on the harbor master's report?
I don't agree with that.
And,
Alright, anything else with the harbor, any other questions, the harbor master's report? So adjournment, yeah,
may I, before you adjourn, talked about repairing the floats a little bit maybe already.
Yeah,
Before I got here. If you guys aren't aware of it. I did get a $15,000 grant from the state to help repair the launch ramp here, replace it with a floating system. I don't have a firm price on that as of yet, but I can tell you it's gonna be way more than 15,000. That's not gonna cover the total cost of it, but whatever we could get is a
The
help.
first quote I got was like 52 grand.
So, the select board accepted the grant at their last meeting. And I did get a commitment from them that they would carry over the unspent funds from last year's waterfront budget, so we could actually do some of these repairs. Not only to the launch ramp, but also to the other floats. So the unexpended funds last year were $46,771, so those will get carried forward. So we've got 61,000 there to do some float repairs, plus there's another 24,000 in the budget this year for
Yeah.
repairs.
I
So
think I can get by with what's in the budget for this year. But it's,
so we should have sufficient funds to do
We got 'em.
the repairs down there that we, you know, that
gotta be
keep
done.
putting off and let's, you know, we just need to get it done. So I think,
And
we can take a good stab at it with the money that we have available this year.
And we did speak with the lady about the floats, and that grant doesn't interfere with that,
Okay,
it's different.
What do we know about those?
Just waiting for her to call back, Earl had her call again today, but she didn't answer, and
I'll deal with the state.
All in favor of adjournment?
That's all I got. Gotta be.
I guess we do.
We'll talk about tonight.
cause I'm gonna wait until. To haul that ramp out of there,
Hey,
did I get it done or get it out of there now or what?
I think girl has good point. If you